Hey guys, Cameron from IC7 Owners, and today we're installing an integrated engineering high pressure fuel pump piston upgrade kit. I'm out here with the car torn apart, getting ready to install the Merc Racing TVS 1900 tomorrow when he comes down. So part of that is more fueling. So went with this kit because it comes with a new valve body assembly with a new seal, which makes me feel better about putting it into my 161,000 mile high pressure fuel pump. So if you want to know how to do this at home, stick around and I'll show you. All right, let's talk about tools you're gonna need for the job. First off, T30 Torx bit, some kind of a set of pliers. These work great for me. 21mm deep socket. You're gonna need that for removing the lock nut on the high pressure fuel pump with the tool you're gonna use. I'm using the integrated engineering tool. You're gonna need the M8 triple square or possibly an M10, depends on your car. My car needed an M8. You're gonna need about a 4-inch extension to be able to get to the bottom bolt on your high pressure fuel pump. Some kind of a socket to fit those. Pick might come in handy. 17mm open box wrench for the high pressure fuel line attached to the fuel pump. You're gonna need a torque wrench. You might need something to help you depress the spring on the high pressure fuel pump. This is what I used and worked okay for me. You'll need something to help remove the lock nut on the high pressure fuel pump. I'm using the IE tool. It's worth every bit of the $30 I paid for it. And then last but not least, you are going to need a vise to be able to work on this. So if you don't have a vise, don't try this, or at least have a place you can go to do the job that has a vise. All right, real quick, let's talk about why you want to upgrade your high pressure fuel pump piston. One, the easy way to do this is to spend $700-800 on an already rebuilt brand new high pressure fuel pump from Integrated Engineering or another company with an upgraded piston. Because then you're just pulling your old pump off, putting the new one on and reconnecting, and you're good to go. With this one, replacing the piston has a little bit of room for error, human error, especially with the O-rings that you have in there, and you can't get an O-ring reassembly kit yet. I think that Coda Performance might be making one for the 3.0Ts, which would be cool. But in any case, be really careful with those gaskets. Doing the piston is gonna save you a lot of money versus buying a whole new pump, and you're putting it into a used pump, but most people don't have issues with that. But you're doing this because you either want one of two things. You wanna run E40, which is a huge boost in performance, or you want just a little bit more headroom for your 93 octane, high performance dual pulley kind of file type of a thing. I know me, I'm dual pulley with not even a crazy ratio, I'm a 3.2 ratio, and I'm seeing my fuel pump almost maxed out, especially with these cold temperatures right now. So this will give me headroom there until I can start running E40. If you're gonna run E40, get an ethanol gauge, don't blow up your engine. But let's jump into the DIY. For those of you unfamiliar, your high pressure fuel pump sits on the passenger side at the front of the engine. It is this housing and assembly here. This is not any part of it. So we're just removing this. You are dealing with fuel line. So if you want to be smart, like most people, you can find your high pressure fuel pump fuse, remove it, turn the car on, let it run till it dies. Then you won't have pressurized fuel here. Car's open because I swapped out a crank pulley and I've had to do a bunch of other stuff and I didn't even think about that. So I'm gonna have to crack one of these lines a little bit loose and let the pressure slowly come out, and I'm gonna leak some fuel here obviously, and you will too. So make sure you have a lot of rags stuffed in and around this area. So I'm gonna get all that set up. I'm gonna go ahead and depressurize the system, and then we'll get into removing this. Now, once again, my car's in service position, so I have a lot more room here, but this is a job you can do without putting your car into service position relatively easily. Also, since we are dealing with gas, please make sure that your engine is completely cool and not hot at all. You do not want to have any risk of a fire in your engine bay. So take the extra time to let your car cool all the way down before you start working on your fuel lines. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this T30 Torx bolt right here, which is part of the high pressure fuel line, which high pressure fuel line is the metal line. This line here is your low pressure fuel line going to your fuel pump. So yeah, we're gonna remove that one there because we're gonna need to have a little bit of wiggle room on this once we loosen up this 17mm bolt over here. And be very careful with this line because it's soft metal and it can bend, pinch, and even split very easily. Side note, before we really get started, there are these two kind of reversed Torx bolt type things here. You might have a little metal shield that is protecting your fuel lines that goes right here, and they're held on by two 10mm nuts. You just got to remove those two 10mm nuts, and then that shield comes off. Mine was never on this car, so that's why I don't have mine here, but that's super simple. And then you can move to the next step. All right, we've got our rag in place to catch any fuel, and there is gonna be fuel. So this is a 17mm nut. Now, as you start to loosen this, make sure you're going lefty-loosey. If you feel extreme resistance, don't force it because you do not want to damage this line. So we're gonna do just slow pressure and let this bleed the pressure off. I can already see fuel coming out of the top, so I'm gonna let that go for a little bit more. And now it's finger loose, so I can sit here and keep the rag over it. All right, so we've got that. That has relieved the pressure there. We don't need to move this a ton, that's done. And that nut will stay on that line. And now we need to get a set of clamps and remove the clamps off of this hose, and I'll reposition the camera and show you. Okay, your line may look a little different than mine because mine's aftermarket. When I installed my ethanol content analyzer, I had to replace the hose. So I'm just gonna grab a pair of Klein's dikes, we're gonna call these. I'm gonna loosen this up and pull this line off of the barb fitting. So best way to do that is bring that clamp up to the top and then slowly just work this off of the barb fitting. All right, since we got that line out of the way, what I did to keep it out of the way was I moved it over to the hanger there that you use to like lift your engine up. I just put the line through there to keep it up and out of the way. So the next step here is to remove 2 triple squares. And for me, the size is an M8 triple square. The IE directions specifically stated M10, so I don't know if there's variation, so just make sure you get the right fitment, but there's one here, which is easily accessible. Then the other one is kind of hard to see, but it's on the bottom right down there, and with this extension, this is just about a 4-inch extension. With the triple square, you can go in through the bottom and access it. So just use a good wrench here. Make sure you apply slow pressure so you don't strip anything out. Make sure that triple square is fully seated in there. Keep a rag down on the bottom in case you need to catch some more fuel. I'm gonna get these 2 out of here and we'll go to the next step. All right, as you release that bottom bolt, the whole fuel pump assembly is gonna come out. Your cam follower or your cam roller, it's an actual cam roller, is going to be in this channel here, and it's gonna come out with this, so don't let it fall. If it does fall, make sure you get it good and clean before you put it back in here. There's obviously oil coming out of here, so you might wanna get some rags in here to clean this up. And then once you get all cleaned up, we're gonna remove 2 wiring harnesses from the pump. Then we'll be able to remove the pump and get it over to the workbench to replace the piston. This probably isn't the best angle. I'm sorry that the edge of the carrier is in the way, but you got our 2 sensors here. So this one, I think we just press down on here and pull that off. You can have a pick to help you if you need to. And you want to work these off gently. Try not to let any kind of oil or fuel get into those. Then we'll rotate this over a bit. Make sure nothing falls out of your pump if anything feels loose. And same thing, I'm gonna get my pick in here to lift this tab and just make it a little bit easier on myself in regards to pulling it off. And then now we can take our high pressure fuel pump and move it to the workbench. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is get the pump into a vise. You will not be able to do this without a vise, so make sure you have one of these. It is also gonna pay to have the right tools, so we're gonna get into that in a little bit. But put a rag around your pump, put it into the vise, get it nice and secure without being too tight. The first thing we need to do is pull down the spring here about a 1/2 inch and remove the retaining clip on top. So this spring is very tight. I've got this kind of trim tool popper here that goes around the OEM piston, and I can bring it down. I'm gonna try and see if that's enough. There we go. That is not easy, and you gotta be careful not to push this one way or another, but we got the retaining pin off. You can pull the spring off. We're gonna go set those somewhere safe. So this is where it pays to really have the right tool. Trying to get this retaining nut off of the high pressure fuel pump is incredibly difficult if you do not have the right tool. So there's these little kind of indentations here on this side and on the other side, and the IE tool here, which is about $30, there's indentations here. So we're gonna set that over the piston and into those indentations. Then we get a 21mm deep socket here, and we're going to hopefully and easily loosen this retaining nut. There we go. Whew, that was on there tight, man. So once we have the retaining nut loose, we can pull it off of the actual fuel pump assembly housing. Mine is looking worse for wear there. That thing has probably seen some better days. And now with the retaining nut free, we can pull out the OEM internals here. And remember, there's still a lot of gas here and potentially a little bit of oil on the outside. Try not to let the oil get inside there. Inspect everything, make sure your O-ring looks good. We're not gonna be reusing this one. We've got a whole new valve seal assembly from Integrated Engineering. That's why I went with their kit. But still, this doesn't look too bad a shape actually. I'm also going to take these parts this was sitting here. I'm going to take these. I'm going to try and clean up these mating surfaces. I don't want that corrosion to sit there. So I'm going to try and clean these up a little bit. I just have to be ultra careful not to damage this blue gasket here on the retaining nut because I don't have a replacement for that. So I'm going to be really careful and try and clean these up a bit. Okay, so I got these cleaned up pretty decently. I know it doesn't look great, but it feels nice and smooth. This thing I cleaned up and got it nice and clean too. When you're putting this back on, it's got a little dimple here on the bottom. There's a little hole here on the actual housing of the pump, so you wanna make sure that sits there. And that way you know it's oriented correctly to mount back to the car once you put the retaining nut back on. Before we go on to assemble the high pressure fuel pump piston, one thing that didn't come out with the OEM piston was this sleeve here. So I'm using a tiny little pick just to pull this sleeve out. You got to remove this because we're going to put the Integrated Engineering version in there to replace it. Assembling your Integrated Engineering fuel piston, high pressure fuel pump piston upgrade is very important the way you do this. Consult the Integrated Engineering directions, which you can find on their website under the product information. But if you look at this, this is the new valve seal assembly and you've got a gasket. Have that aimed down, so you want more metal on top. And you want to push the piston through this, leaving only about a 1/4 inch of piston visible from the bottom here. So it looks about like that, almost flush with this, we're not quite. And then you're going to take the other piece here and you're going to bring this up and connect it to there. And then once you've done that, it's in there and you can set this back into the actual high pressure fuel pump. Okay, so it's time to put our new high pressure fuel pump piston assembly in, and with IE we've got this brand new valve body with has a brand new gasket. Now it's dry in here, this gasket's dry. They don't mention anything about lubricating this, but I don't feel right putting this in, you know, going in dry, so to speak. So I'm gonna just take the tiniest little dab of fresh oil and I'm just going to lubricate this. And you know, someone might see this and scream and say, oh my God, what are you doing? That's the most worst thing ever, but there's oil inside here. So, obviously oil and fuel getting together is not great, but I don't want to have to deal with a pinched gasket. So we're going to set this here, and you don't push in, you just set it and rest it right there. We're not gonna shove it in there. And now we're going to get the retaining nut and put this back on. Now we're going to put that locking nut back on here very gently, don't damage anything. And we're just gonna get this started by hand. Now we will take the Integrated Engineering tool and get that positioned on there. Be careful of the new piston. You don't want to hurt anything there. And this will be torqued to 40 foot-pounds. Okay, so now it's time to put back your spring, or put the spring back on there. This is the OEM spring that came off your pump. Now it's a little weird, not sitting there perfectly, so give it a little bit of press there and it will seat all the way down. Then you're gonna take your retaining spring, and the IE directions say to just gently push down on the piston to seat the retaining clip. And that looks like it's fully seated there. So I think we're done with that. Okay, so it's time to reconnect the fuel pump. We've already got the electrical connections connected to the bottom of it. We have our cam follower. I've put a light coat of oil on there just to be safe. Now on the cam follower, there's a little piece that protrudes on one side, and then there's just a little divot on the other. You want that piece that protrudes to go on the bottom. If you look in there, there's a channel in there that will sit in and allow it to go all the way up and down as the piston pushes it up and down, so to speak. So let me get that in there correctly. And I'm just gonna push it all the way to the top to get ready to put the fuel pump back in. Gonna line this up. And remember, I've already lubricated that gasket there. That's gonna go into the housing here. Make sure we don't hit anything here. So I'm gonna work on getting this started. I gotta get these bolts threaded, and then I will show you the finished product. Getting this bottom fuel pump bolt back in is tricky. You don't want it to fall and you can't really get your hands to it. So I use just a piece of tape shoved in there to secure it to the triple square that I've got so I can get it started, and then I'll pull that out once I get it in there. Once you get both of the bolts started, what I would do is just slowly go back and forth, working it in, because you've got that gasket there and you don't want to just shove it all the way in. You don't want it to tighten down unevenly. So I'm gonna go just a few turns bottom, a few turns top, and keep them even as it pulls it into the actual housing there. You can see it start to move into the housing. We'll eventually get this tight. Integrated Engineering doesn't provide torque specs on this, so we're just gonna get them firm and tight, good and tight, if you will. I'm sure I could look up torque specs if I really wanted to, but I'm not terribly worried. Okay, we've got those tightened down. From here, it's just reassembling all the hardware. So your high pressure fuel pump here, remember, don't cross thread this, don't agitate that line. Don't forget to put that T30 Torx back in over here. Get your low pressure fuel line connected back over here. And then we'll talk about priming the fuel pump to make sure that we get all of the fuel through and into the injectors, as well as inspecting for leaks. Okay, so now it's time to prime your fuel pump, because if you don't prime it when you try and go start your car, it's just gonna turn over and over and over and nothing's gonna happen. So we wanna get fuel through your injector so that you can get a spark. So yeah, we're going, or get an ignition, whatever you wanna call it. So before you do that, you wanna go through and double check all of your connections, make sure everything's good to go. And then the way that you are going to prime your fuel pump is just opening your car door. So once you open your car door and unlock it, you'll hear your engine kind of come alive with this like electrical whining sound, and that is your fuel pump priming your fuel system. Let it go until it's quiet, close your door, open it again. Do it like 5 times just to be excessive and make sure you fully primed your fuel system. Now, while it's doing that, inspect all the areas you worked on for areas of leak. So this seal right here, or this surface here where the fuel pump mates to the engine, you want to check for leaks there, check for leaks at the high pressure fuel pump nut, and check for leaks at your low pressure fuel line. And you know, you might put a rag underneath there to see if anything's dripping, but just keep a good eye on there, put a flashlight here. And then once you actually get your car started and running, go ahead and go back and inspect again for a couple minutes. Make sure there's absolutely no leaks. The last thing you want to do is burn your car down. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this DIY. If I did anything glaringly wrong, as always, put it in the comments below so that I can address it. But it's relatively simple if you have the right tools. Having that tool from IE was a godsend. You can do it without it, but like mine was so stuck, I would not have been able to. So I'm really happy that I spent the extra money and got that. But yeah, now you're ready to go run E40, or maybe just have a little bit more headroom for your 93 stage 2 dual pulley, you know, crazy file. Go out there, get some good times, be responsible, have fun, like and subscribe. Check out the Merc Racing Supercharger series that we're about to have coming to you, and I will see you on the next DIY.